The knife slid across Thomas Reed's throat so smoothly that for a moment, Claire Ross thought she was watching a magic trick. Then came the blood. It sprayed across the stainless steel counter where she'd been piping cream roses onto a wedding cake just seconds before. Her hands froze, the pastry bag slipping from her fingers. The man holding the knife turned toward her, his dark eyes meeting hers through the harsh fluorescent lighting. He was beautiful in the way fallen angels are beautiful, dangerous and devastating. His tailored suit didn't have a single drop of blood on it. Behind him, Thomas Reed's body crumpled to the floor. The beautiful man tilted his head, studying Claire. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice smooth as expensive whiskey. Claire's heart hammered, but her voice came out steady. "Neither should you. This is my kitchen." Something flickered in those dark eyes. Surprise, maybe amusement. He took a step toward her. "Your kitchen," he repeated, Italian accent threading through his words. "You work at Sorella's?" "I'm the pastry chef," Claire said, "and Thomas Reed was my boss." The man's lips curved. "Thomas Reed was a thief who stole from the wrong people. Now you have a choice, Claire Ross." Her name in his mouth sent ice down her spine. He knew who she was. "I know everything about everyone in my city," he said, wiping his blade with a silk handkerchief. "I know your father died 6 months ago owing $347,000 to people who don't forgive debt. I know you're working 3 jobs trying to pay it down." Each word hit like a physical blow. Claire blinked hard, refusing to let tears fall. "What do you want?" The man slid his knife away. "I want you to make a choice. Walk out, go to the police, spend your life looking over your shoulder." "And your father's debt? The people he owed will go after your mother in that nursing home in Vermont." Claire's blood turned to ice. "Don't you? Or," he continued, "keep your mouth shut about tonight. In exchange, I'll make your father's debt disappear. Every penny. And I'll give you something else." He held out a business card. Heavy stock, embossed lettering. Luigi Veroni. "I need a private chef," Luigi said. "Someone who can cook authentic Italian cuisine. I've watched you work, Claire. You have something special. Work for me for 3 months. At the end, your debt is cleared, and you walk away with enough money to start your own restaurant anywhere in the world." It was insane. Working for a murderer. But Claire thought of her mother, the bills piling up, the $347,000 hanging around her neck like a noose. 3 months, she heard herself say. "That's all? That's all. You cook. I eat. You ask no questions about my business." Luigi extended his hand. Claire reached out and placed her hand in his. His grip was firm but not crushing. "When do I start?" "Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. He pressed another card into her palm. "Pack a bag. You'll be staying on the estate. For your safety." Luigi gestured toward the door. "Go now. Call 911 from your apartment. You were running late. Traffic was terrible. You know nothing." "How do you know I won't tell them everything?" Luigi looked at her with something like respect. "Because you're smart enough to know that silence keeps your mother safe. And because you're curious, Claire Ross, you want to know what happens next." He was right. Terrified, but curious. Claire walked out on shaking legs. She ran through the dining room, out into the New York night that suddenly felt more dangerous than ever. 3 blocks later, her legs gave out. She collapsed against a wall, gasping, Thomas Reed's blood still on her coat. She dialed 911. When the police arrived, Claire told them exactly what Luigi instructed. She'd been running late, found Thomas, called immediately, knew nothing. Detective Rachel Morgan studied Claire with sharp eyes. "You're lying about the traffic, but you're genuinely traumatized. If someone's threatening you, you call me. We can protect you." But could they? Could they really protect her from Luigi Veroni? Claire went home, showered until the water ran cold, and stared at Luigi's cards. The address was in the Hamptons. She should run, disappear. But her mother needed her. At 5 o'clock the next day, Claire called an Uber. The driver tried making conversation as they left the city, but Claire couldn't focus. When they reached the address, her breath caught. It wasn't a house. It was a compound. 12-foot iron gates, security cameras everywhere. A broad-shouldered man in a suit appeared. "Claire Ross, I'm Marco Santini, Mr. Verone's head of security. Welcome. He led her through manicured gardens to a white stone mansion worth more than she'd make in 10 lifetimes. Inside, the kitchen made her breath catch. Enormous, professional grade, equipment from magazines, Viking ranges, wood-fired pizza oven, copper pots, marble island the size of her apartment. Luigi Verone stood at that island in dark slacks and a white shirt, sleeves rolled up. He looked up, that devastating smile curving his lips. Claire, right on time. Marco left them alone. Luigi gestured around. What do you think? It's beautiful. It's yours. For 3 months, this kitchen belongs to you. Dinner, I want something that reminds me of home. Can you do that? Where's home? Napoli, my grandmother's kitchen. She died when I was 12, but I still remember her ragu simmering for hours, the pasta she made by hand every Sunday. For a moment, he wasn't a killer, just a man missing his grandmother. I can do that, Claire said. Luigi moved closer. The rules are simple. You cook. You stay on the estate grounds, for your safety. You don't ask questions about my business. You don't go into the East Wing, and you call me Luigi. What's in the East Wing? Luigi's smile turned sharp. That would be a question about my business, wouldn't it? He handed her a phone. This has one number, mine. If you need anything, you call. If there's an emergency, you call. Understood? What kind of emergency? Luigi's expression darkened. The kind where men who aren't Marco show up, where you hear gunshots, where your instincts scream something's wrong. Ice flooded her veins. Does that happen often? I'm hoping it won't, but you're under my protection now. That makes you valuable to my enemies, so you stay here, trust Marco, and call me if anything feels off. Marco showed her to a bedroom twice her apartment's size. Marco, she asked, what kind of man is he? Marco studied her. Mr. Verone is complicated. He's done things he's not proud of. But he has a code. He doesn't hurt women or children. He keeps his word. And he protects what's his. I'm not his. Marco's expression was unreadable. You're in his house, under his protection. In his world, that makes you his. At 7:30, Claire returned to the kitchen. 30 minutes to make a meal, reminding a killer of his grandmother's love. She made pasta dough from scratch, rolling it thin. Fettuccine, cut by hand. Simple tomato sauce, tomatoes, garlic, basil, olive oil. Comfort food. At 8 o'clock, Luigi walked in wearing jeans and a black t-shirt, somehow more dangerous in casual clothes. Smells incredible. Claire plated the food and set it before him. Luigi looked at it for a long moment, then took a bite. The silence stretched. When I was 8, I broke my arm falling from a tree. Luigi finally said, my grandmother made me fettuccine al pomodoro exactly like this. She said tomatoes healed everything. He took another bite. This is perfect. Sit. Eat with me, Luigi commanded. They ate in silence. Why did you really spare me? Claire asked. You could have killed me. Why didn't you? Luigi set down his fork. Because you didn't scream. Everyone screams when they see death. But you just stood there and told me it was your kitchen. When I looked at you, I saw someone who'd survived worse things than me. Someone strong. Someone interesting. And if I become a problem? Luigi's smile was slow and dangerous. Then I'll deal with you accordingly, but I think you're going to surprise me. Suddenly, glass shattered somewhere in the house. Marco's voice crackled over an intercom. Lock down! East Wing breach! Get the boss to the safe room now! Luigi grabbed Claire's arm, hauling her toward a hidden door. What's happening? My enemy's making a move. Stay close and stay quiet. Gunshots, shouting in Italian. Smoke. Luigi pulled a gun, pushing Claire through a reinforced door into a room lined with monitors, showing men in tactical gear pouring through windows. Antonio Greco, Luigi said, his voice murderous. He's been trying to kill me for 17 years. He looked at Claire with something like regret. I'm sorry. This wasn't supposed to happen so soon. You being here, he knows I brought someone into my home. That's not something I do. So he's making a move. An explosion shook the house. "This is my fault?" Claire's voice rose. Luigi gripped her shoulders. "This is Antonio's fault, not yours. I'm going to keep you safe. I promise." Another explosion. The monitors flickered. "Boss, we need the tunnel now." Marco's voice crackled. "Take Claire through," Luigi ordered. "What? No." Claire grabbed his arm. "What about you?" "I'm staying. This is my house. I'm not running." "Then I'm staying too." Luigi stared at her. "You've known me one day. You promised me 3 months. Can't deliver if you're dead." Something blazed in his eyes. Another explosion cut off his response. The lights died, replaced by red emergency lighting. Luigi grabbed her hand, pulling her toward a wall that slid open, revealing a tunnel. "Stay behind me. If I tell you to run, you run." They plunged into darkness, lit only by emergency lights. Behind them, battle raged. They reached a junction. Luigi froze. Footsteps echoed ahead. Someone had found the tunnel. Luigi pushed Claire behind him, raising his gun. "Whatever happens, whatever you see, don't make a sound." The footsteps grew louder. A figure emerged from darkness, and Luigi smiled. But this smile was the one predators wore right before they struck. The figure stepping from the shadows wasn't an enemy. It was a woman, tall, elegant, with dark hair pulled into a severe bun and eyes that could cut glass. She wore all black, a gun holstered at her hip, and she looked at Luigi with an expression somewhere between exasperation and affection. "Sophia," Luigi breathed, lowering his weapon. "What the hell are you doing in the tunnel?" "Saving your ungrateful ass as usual," the woman replied in accented English. Her gaze shifted to Claire, sharp and assessing. "So this is her, the pastry chef you've dragged into our world." Claire felt herself being evaluated like a specimen under a microscope. "I'm Claire Ross," she said, refusing to shrink under that stare. Sophia's lips curved slightly. "Sophia Romano, Luigi's sister. And before you ask, yes, we share the same capacity for poor life choices." Above them, another explosion rattled the tunnel. Dust rained from the ceiling. "We need to move," Sophia said. "Marco's team has them contained in the East Wing, but Greco's men brought serious firepower. They're not leaving without a fight." "How many did we lose?" Luigi asked, already moving down the tunnel with Sophia beside him and Claire following close behind. 2 injured, none dead, yet. Sophia's voice was clipped, professional. "But if we don't end this soon, that'll change." They emerged into what looked like a wine cellar, racks of expensive bottles lining stone walls. Sophia pressed a hidden panel, and a section of wall slid open, revealing another set of stairs leading up. "This takes us to the garage," she explained. "We can flank them from there." Luigi turned to Claire. "You're staying here. Lock the door behind us. Don't open it for anyone except me or Marco. Understood?" "But—" "No arguments," Luigi said, and there was steel in his voice now, the voice of a man used to commanding soldiers. "This is what I do, Claire. Let me do it." Before Claire could protest, Luigi was gone, taking the stairs 2 at a time with Sophia right behind him. The wall slid shut, and Claire was alone in the wine cellar with her heart hammering and the distant sound of gunfire echoing through the estate. She sank onto a wooden crate, wrapping her arms around herself. 24 hours ago, her biggest problem had been making enough tips to cover rent. Now she was hiding in a billionaire mobster's wine cellar while people tried to kill him. This was insane. She should have run when she had the chance. But even as she thought it, Claire knew she wouldn't have. Something about Luigi Verone had hooked into her, something beyond the debt and the money and the fear. When he'd looked at her in that tunnel and promised to keep her safe, she'd believed him. God help her, she'd believed him. Time crawled. Minutes felt like hours. Claire counted wine bottles to distract herself. Bordeaux, Burgundy, Italian reds she'd only read about in culinary school. She'd reached 347 bottles when she realized that was the exact amount of her father's debt. The universe had a sick sense of humor. The gunfire above had stopped. The silence was somehow worse than the noise. Claire pressed her ear to the wall, straining to hear anything. Footsteps on the stairs. Her heart leaped into her throat. "Claire, it's Marco. I'm coming down. wall slid open, and Marco appeared. Blood spattered on his shirt, but moving without obvious injury. His expression was grim. "Is he—" Claire couldn't finish the sentence. "Boss is fine. Sophia too. But you need to come with me. Luigi wants you in the medical wing." Claire's stomach dropped. "Someone's hurt?" "You could say that." Marco led her through a maze of corridors Claire hadn't seen before, the house revealing itself like a puzzle box with hidden compartments. They reached a room that looked like a private hospital. Medical equipment, cabinets full of supplies, a surgical table. Luigi sat on the edge of that table, shirtless, while Sophia cleaned a gash across his shoulder. It wasn't deep, but it was bleeding steadily. "It's just a graze," Luigi said when he saw Claire's face. "I've had worse paper cuts." "Paper cuts don't require stitches," Sophia muttered, threading a needle. "Hold still." Luigi's jaw tightened as Sophia began stitching, but he didn't make a sound. His eyes found Claire's. "You okay? You're the one bleeding, and you're asking if I'm okay?" Claire crossed to him, unable to stop herself. Up close, she could see other scars on his chest and abdomen. Old wounds, stories written in scar tissue. "What happened up there?" "We sent Greco's men running," Sophia answered, tying off the last stitch. "Killed 3, wounded 5. The rest retreated. They weren't expecting us to come from behind." She cleaned her hands efficiently. "But they'll be back. This was just a probe, testing our defenses." "Why?" Claire asked. "Why does this Greco want you dead so badly?" The room went silent. Sophia and Marco exchanged glances. Luigi's expression hardened. "That's a long story." "We've got time," Claire said. "You told me I'm in this now, that I'm under your protection. Don't I deserve to know what I'm being protected from?" Luigi studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Marco, Sophia, give us the room." "Luigi," Sophia started. "Now." When they were alone, Luigi reached for his shirt, but Claire stopped him. "Let me." She found bandages in a cabinet and carefully wrapped his shoulder, her fingers gentle against his warm skin. He watched her work, and Claire felt the weight of his gaze like a physical touch. "Antonio Greco killed my parents," Luigi finally said. "I was 17. He walked into our home during Sunday dinner and shot them both in front of me. My father was Francesco Verone. He controlled most of the New York territory. Antonio thought killing him would let him take over." "But it didn't," Claire said softly, securing the bandage. "No, it made me." Luigi's voice was flat, emotionless, but Claire could hear the pain underneath. "I spent the next 6 months hunting down everyone involved. I was methodical, ruthless. By the time I was 18, I'd killed 23 men and taken my father's place. Antonio ran. He's been hiding ever since, building his own operation, waiting for his moment." 17 years, Claire whispered. "You've been at war for 17 years. Not war. War implies equal sides. This is hunting. He's prey that's gotten good at hiding." Luigi finally pulled on his shirt, wincing slightly. "He knows I'll never stop. So he's decided to hit first, hit hard, and hope he gets lucky." Claire finished with the bandages and stepped back, her hands shaking slightly. "And I'm bait. That's what this is really about, isn't it? You didn't bring me here just to cook. You brought me here because men like Greco look for weaknesses, and a woman in your home looks like a weakness." Luigi's silence was answer enough. "God damn you," Claire breathed. "You made me think—" "I made you think what?" Luigi stood, and suddenly he was close, too close, his presence overwhelming in the small space. "That this was charity? That I'm some kind of hero? I told you what I am, Claire. I kill people. I use people. I do whatever it takes to win." "Then why explain it to me?" Claire demanded, anger flooding through her fear. "Why not just keep lying?" "Because you asked," Luigi said simply. "Because you're standing here with blood on your hands from bandaging a monster, and you deserve the truth." He moved past her toward the door, then stopped. "You can leave, right now. Marco will take you anywhere you want to go. Your debt is cleared regardless. I won't hold you to our deal." Claire stared at his back, at the blood seeping through his fresh bandage, at the rigid set of his shoulders. She thought about running, about her mother, about the 3 months she'd promised, about the way Luigi had pushed her behind him in that tunnel without hesitation. "I'm staying," she heard herself say. Luigi turned slowly, surprise flickering across his face. "Why?" "Because you kept your promise. You said you'd keep me safe, and you did. And because—" Claire hesitated, then pushed forward. "Because maybe I'm tired of running from dangerous things. Maybe I want to understand them instead." Something shifted in Luigi's expression, something that made Claire's breath catch. "Understanding me is dangerous too," he said softly. "Maybe I like danger," Claire replied, and was shocked to realize she meant it. The next morning, Claire woke in her enormous bed to sunlight streaming through the French doors. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then memory crashed back. The attack, the tunnel, Luigi's blood on her hands. She showered and dressed, following the smell of coffee down to the kitchen. Maria, the housekeeper Marco had mentioned, was already there, a round woman in her 60s with kind eyes and efficient hands. "You must be Claire," she said in heavily accented English. "Mr. Verone said you would be hungry. Sit, sit." She produced an espresso and fresh pastries that Claire hadn't made. "Thank you, but I should be cooking for him, not you for me." Maria waved her off. "Mr. Verone is in meetings all morning. Business that is not our business. You eat, then you explore the kitchen. It is yours now, yes? Make it home. Home." The word felt strange, but as Claire ate and Maria chattered about the house and the gardens, something in her chest loosened slightly. After breakfast, Claire did explore the kitchen, opening every cabinet and drawer, cataloging ingredients and equipment. It was a chef's fantasy, everything she could possibly need and more. She was examining the spice collection when Sophia appeared in the doorway. "Walk with me," Sophia said. It wasn't a request. They walked through the gardens in silence, past roses and marble fountains, until they reached a wrought iron bench overlooking the ocean. Sophia sat and gestured for Claire to join her. "I need to know your intentions," Sophia said bluntly. "Toward my brother." Claire blinked. "I don't have intentions. I'm his chef." "You're a beautiful woman living in his home. Luigi doesn't bring women here, not ever. The fact that he broke that rule for you means something." Sophia's gaze was razor sharp. "So I'll ask again. What are your intentions?" "I intend to survive the next 3 months," Claire said honestly. "I intend to cook good food and clear my father's debt and start over somewhere far from here. That's all." Sophia studied her for a long moment. "You're lying to yourself if you think it's that simple. I saw how you looked at him last night. I saw how he looked at you." "How did he look at me?" Claire asked before she could stop herself. "Like you're something precious he's afraid to break." Sophia said, "And that terrifies me, because in our world, precious things get destroyed. People will use you to hurt him. They already are." "Then why did he bring me here?" Sophia smiled, but it was sad. "Because for the first time since our parents died, Luigi wants something beyond revenge. He wants something normal, something human. And that makes him vulnerable in ways he doesn't understand." She stood. "So I'm asking you, can you handle this? Can you handle what loving Luigi Verone means?" "I don't love him," Claire protested. "I barely know him." "You will," Sophia said with certainty. "Everyone who gets close to Luigi either loves him or fears him, sometimes both, and the ones who love him, they suffer most." She walked away, leaving Claire alone with her thoughts and the sound of waves crashing below. That evening, Claire made ossobuco, braising veal shanks until they fell apart, serving them over saffron risotto. Luigi ate in silence, but she could see something working behind his eyes. "My grandmother made this for special occasions," he finally said. "Birthdays, holidays, the day I got into university before—" He stopped. "Before everything changed." "Did you want to go?" Claire asked. "To university?" "I wanted to be an architect," Luigi admitted, and he sounded almost surprised, like he'd forgotten. "I wanted to design buildings that would last centuries. I wanted to create instead of destroy." He met her eyes. "But we don't always get what we want." No, Claire agreed. We don't. They finished dinner, and Luigi asked her to sit with him again, and somehow it became a ritual, cooking and eating and talking about everything except the violence that surrounded them. They talked about food and cities and dreams they'd had before life taught them to stop dreaming. Days passed. Claire learned the rhythms of the estate, Marco's security patrols, Maria's cleaning schedule, Sophia's visits that always felt like inspections. She learned that Luigi took his espresso at 6 a.m., that he worked late into the night in his office, that he never slept more than 5 hours. She learned the sounds of the house, could distinguish between Marco's heavy footsteps and Sophia's lighter ones, between the creak of old pipes and the settling of foundations. And every night she cooked for Luigi, and every night they talked a little longer. 2 weeks in, Vincent Kane arrived. Claire was in the kitchen preparing pasta when a man appeared in the doorway, tall, handsome in a cold way, with pale eyes and a smile that didn't reach them. "You must be the famous Claire," he said. Vincent Kane, Luigi's cousin. He extended a hand, and Claire shook it reluctantly. His grip was too tight, lasted too long. "Pleasure." "Vincent," Luigi's voice cut through the kitchen like a blade. He stood in the opposite doorway, and Claire had never seen him look so cold. "I didn't know you were coming." "Family doesn't need an invitation, cousin," Vincent replied smoothly. "I heard about Greco's attack. Thought I should check on you." "I'm fine." "So I see." Vincent's gaze slid to Claire, and something in his expression made her skin crawl. "You've been keeping secrets, Luigi. A woman in your home. That's not like you." "Claire is my chef," Luigi said flatly. Nothing more. The words shouldn't have stung, but they did. Claire turned back to her pasta, focusing on kneading the dough. "Of course," Vincent said, but his tone suggested he didn't believe it. "Well, I'm in town for a few days. We should have dinner. Catch up on family business." After Vincent left, Luigi approached Claire. "Stay away from him." "Why?" "He's your cousin." "He's a snake," Luigi said bluntly. "I keep him close because it's safer than having him as an enemy. But I don't trust him. Neither should you." That night, Claire couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Vincent's cold eyes, about Sophia's warning, about the way Luigi had said nothing more, like he meant it. She got up and wandered down to the kitchen, thinking she'd make tea. Luigi was already there, standing at the window in pajama pants and nothing else, drinking what looked like whiskey. "Can't sleep either?" he asked without turning around. "Too much thinking." Claire joined him at the window. The moon was full, casting silver light over the gardens. "What are you thinking about?" "How everything was simpler before you got here," Luigi said, and there was something raw in his voice. "How I knew exactly who I was and what I wanted. And now—" He stopped, taking a long drink. "And now?" Claire prompted. Luigi turned to face her, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. "And now I catch myself watching you cook and forgetting about revenge. I catch myself laughing at your stories about culinary school disasters. I catch myself thinking about what happens after 3 months and whether I can let you go." He set down his glass. "You're dangerous, Claire Ross. More dangerous than Greco, because he can only kill me. You could make me want to live." The air between them crackled with tension. Claire knew she should step back, should maintain distance, should remember that this was temporary and he was a killer, and nothing good could come from this. Instead, she stepped closer. Would that be so terrible? Wanting to live? "Yes," Luigi said, but his hand came up to cup her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. "Because I'm very good at dying. I've been practicing for 17 years. But living? That's unfamiliar territory." "Maybe," Claire whispered. "You need a guide." Luigi's laugh was harsh. "Are you volunteering?" "Maybe I am." They stood there, inches apart, balanced on the knife's edge between what was and what could be. Then Luigi's phone buzzed, shattering the moment. He pulled it out, his expression darkening as he read the message. "What is it?" Claire asked. "Greco," Luigi said. "He knows about you. Your name, your mother's location, everything. He's threatening her if I don't meet with him." Claire's blood turned to ice. "My mother?" He's threatening my mother? Luigi was already moving, pulling his phone to his ear. Marco, I need a team at Meadowbrook Care Facility in Vermont. Now. Full protection detail. He listened, his jaw tight. I don't care if it's midnight. Wake everyone up. Go. He ended the call and turned to Claire, gripping her shoulders. Your mother will be safe. I have people on the way. They'll be there in 20 minutes. 20 minutes? Claire's voice cracked. He could get to her in 20 minutes. He won't. Luigi's voice was absolute certainty. Greco sent this message to draw me out. He wants a reaction. If he'd already moved on your mother, he would have sent proof. This is psychological warfare. Claire's legs gave out. She sank into a chair, her whole body shaking. This is my fault. I should never have come here. I should have... Stop. Luigi knelt in front of her, forcing her to meet his eyes. This is not your fault. This is what Greco does. He finds what matters, and he twists the knife. But he made a mistake tonight. What mistake? He showed his hand too early, Luigi said. He's desperate. The attack on the estate failed, so now he's trying intimidation. That means he's weaker than I thought. He stood, pulling out his phone again. I'm going to end this. Tonight. What do you mean, end this? Claire grabbed his arm. You said meeting with him is what he wants. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap, Luigi agreed. But sometimes you walk into the trap anyway. Sometimes that's how you win. His phone buzzed with an incoming call. He answered, listened, then nodded. Good. Keep her secure. No one gets in or out without my authorization. He looked at Claire. Your mother is safe. Marco's team is in position. She doesn't even know they're there. Relief flooded through Claire, so intense it was almost painful. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Luigi said grimly. Greco wants to meet at the old Russo warehouse in Brooklyn. 2 a.m. Just the two of us. You can't go alone, Claire protested. That's suicide. I won't be alone. Marco and his team will be positioned around the perimeter. Sophia will be on overwatch, and you... He hesitated. You'll be here, where it's safe. No. Claire stood, surprising herself with her own vehemence. No, I'm coming with you. Luigi stared at her like she'd lost her mind. Absolutely not. He's using me as bait, Luigi. He's threatening my mother to get to you. I have a right to be there. You have a right to stay alive. Luigi shot back. This isn't a game, Claire. Greco will kill you without hesitation if he gets the chance. Then don't give him the chance, Claire said. You told me you keep your promises. You promised to keep me safe. So keep me safe, but don't lock me away like I'm helpless. Something shifted in Luigi's expression, frustration warring with reluctant admiration. You're insane. Probably, Claire agreed, but I'm also not spending the next few hours sitting here wondering if you're alive or dead. So either I come with you or I'll find my own way to that warehouse. Luigi cursed in Italian, long and creative. Fine, but you do exactly what I say when I say it. No arguments, no heroics. Understood? Claire nodded, her heart pounding. What was she doing? 12 hours ago, she'd been worried about perfecting her risotto technique. Now she was voluntarily walking into a confrontation with a mafia boss who wanted them all dead. But the thought of Luigi facing Greco alone, of something happening to him because of her, was unbearable. At 1:30 a.m., Claire found herself in the back of an SUV with bulletproof windows, wedged between Luigi and Marco. Sophia drove, her movements precise and controlled. 2 more vehicles followed behind them, filled with Luigi's security team. The warehouse is on the waterfront, Marco explained, showing Claire a tablet with building schematics. 4 entrances, multiple sight lines. We'll have people positioned here, here, and here. He pointed to locations marked in red. Our job is to make sure Greco doesn't leave that building alive. What about witnesses? Claire asked. What about police? Marco and Luigi exchanged glances. The police won't come, Luigi said. The warehouse is owned by a shell company connected to the Russo family. They've been neutral in this war, but they owe me a favor. As for witnesses, he shrugged. There won't be any. The casual way he said it made Claire's stomach turn. This was his world. Violence and death and favors owed. She was so far out of her depth she couldn't even see the surface anymore. They reached the warehouse district just before 2. The buildings loomed like sleeping giants, dark and silent. Sophia killed the headlights, navigating by moonlight alone. "He's already here," Marco said, looking at his tablet. 3 vehicles, approximately 8 men visible. Could be more inside. "He brought an army," Sophia muttered. "So much for just the 2 of us." "He was never going to come alone," Luigi said. He looked at Claire. "Last chance to stay in the car." Claire shook her head. "I'm coming." Luigi opened a case at his feet, pulling out a Kevlar vest. "Put this on." He helped her into it, his hands impersonal and efficient, then checked his own weapons. Claire counted 3 guns and 2 knives before she stopped counting. Marco handed her something small and hard. "Emergency beacon. If something goes wrong, if you get separated from us, you press this button. Every man on my team will converge on your location within 60 seconds. Understand?" Claire nodded, pocketing the device. They exited the vehicle, and Claire was immediately struck by how exposed she felt. The warehouse yard was vast and empty, illuminated by weak security lights. Every shadow seemed to hide a threat. Luigi took her hand, and the gesture was so unexpected that Claire almost pulled away. But his grip was warm and steady, anchoring her. "Stay close," he murmured. "Stay quiet, and whatever happens, don't try to be brave. Just survive." They walked toward the warehouse entrance, Marco and 2 other men flanking them. Sophia had disappeared, presumably to her overwatch position. The warehouse doors stood open, spilling yellow light into the darkness. And standing in that doorway, silhouetted like a villain from a movie, was Antonio Greco. He was smaller than Claire expected. Average height, graying hair, expensive suit. He could have been anyone's grandfather, except for his eyes. His eyes were dead, flat and cold as a shark's. "Luigi," Greco said, his voice surprisingly cultured. "You're punctual. I appreciate that." "Let's skip the pleasantries, Antonio," Luigi replied. "You threatened someone under my protection. That was a mistake." "Was it?" Greco's gaze slid to Claire. "This must be the pastry chef. She's prettier than her photograph. I can see why you're distracted." "She has nothing to do with our business," Luigi said. "Leave her out of this." Greco laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Everything has to do with our business, Luigi. You made it personal when you killed my son." The air went still. Luigi's hand tightened on Claire's. "Your son? Carlo," Greco said. "You killed him 6 years ago, shot him in the head and left him in an alley like garbage. Did you think I'd forget? Did you think I'd forgive?" Luigi's voice was flat. "Carlo was dealing drugs to children. He beat a 15-year-old girl so badly she lost her baby. I gave him a chance to leave the city. He refused, so I removed the problem. He was my son," Greco snarled, and suddenly the cultured mask slipped, revealing the monster underneath. "My blood. And you murdered him." "He murdered himself," Luigi said coldly. "His choices, his consequences. Just like your choices tonight will have consequences." Greco pulled a gun from his jacket, leveling it at Claire's head. "Let's talk about consequences, shall we?" Everything happened at once. Luigi shoved Claire behind him. Marco and his team drew weapons. Men appeared from the shadows of the warehouse, at least a dozen of them, all armed. "Tell your men to lower their guns," Greco said, "or the girl dies first, and you get to watch." Luigi didn't move. His voice when he spoke was colder than Claire had ever heard it. "If you pull that trigger, Antonio, you'll be dead before her body hits the ground, and then my people will hunt down everyone you've ever loved. Your daughter in Miami, your grandchildren in Sicily, every cousin, every friend, every person who ever spoke your name with anything but hatred. I will erase your entire bloodline from existence." The warehouse was silent except for the sound of Claire's ragged breathing. She could feel Luigi's back against her chest, solid and protective. Could feel the tension radiating from him like heat. Greco's hand trembled slightly, but the gun didn't waver. "You're bluffing." "Try me," Luigi invited. "Please, give me an excuse." For 10 endless seconds, no one moved. Then Greco slowly lowered his weapon. We're at an impasse, it seems. No impasse, Luigi said. This ends tonight. You and me. No weapons, no men, just us. You win, you take everything. My territory, my operations, my life. I win, you disappear. Leave New York. Leave the country. Live out whatever time you have left somewhere I never have to see your face again. Greco considered this. And if I refuse? Then we all die here, Luigi said simply. My snipers have you in their sights right now. Your men too. You make a move, and this becomes a bloodbath. Is that really how you want to end? Killing and dying for pride? Claire could see the calculation in Greco's eyes. He was weighing odds, considering angles. Finally he nodded. Fine, no weapons, no interference, old-fashioned way. He stripped off his jacket, revealing surprisingly muscular arms for a man his age. Luigi did the same, handing his weapons to Marco. He turned to Claire, and for just a moment, the cold mask fell away. Whatever happens, you don't interfere. Promise me. Luigi, promise me, Claire. His hands cupped her face. I need to know you'll be okay. Claire wanted to argue, to scream that this was insane, that there had to be another way. But she could see in his eyes that this was necessary, that this was how his world worked. I promise, she whispered. Luigi pressed his forehead to hers briefly, then turned and walked toward Greco. The two men circled each other like wolves. Claire's heart hammered so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Greco struck first, a surprisingly fast jab that Luigi barely dodged. Luigi countered with a strike to Greco's ribs that landed with a sickening thud. They traded blows, brutal and efficient, no wasted movement. This wasn't boxing or martial arts. This was street fighting, dirty and desperate. Greco grabbed a piece of broken pipe from the ground, so much for no weapons, and swung at Luigi's head. Luigi ducked and the pipe whistled through the air where his skull had been. He grabbed Greco's arm, twisted, and Claire heard something crack. Greco screamed, dropping the pipe, but he used Luigi's grip as leverage, driving his knee into Luigi's injured shoulder. Luigi's face went white with pain, but he didn't let go. Instead, he pulled Greco closer and headbutted him. Blood exploded from Greco's nose. They crashed to the ground, rolling, each trying to gain the advantage. Greco's hands found Luigi's throat. Luigi's fist connected with Greco's temple, once, twice, 3 times. Claire couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only watch as the two men tried to kill each other with their bare hands. Then Luigi got his legs under Greco and threw him off. Both men staggered to their feet, bleeding and gasping. You're getting old, Antonio, Luigi panted. You should have stayed hidden. You're distracted, Luigi. Greco spat blood. Love makes you weak. He feinted left, and when Luigi committed to blocking, Greco's real strike came from the right, a brutal punch to Luigi's wounded shoulder. Luigi went down to one knee, his face gray with pain. Greco grabbed the pipe again, raising it high. This is for Carlo. Claire moved without thinking. She grabbed the emergency beacon from her pocket and threw it as hard as she could. It hit Greco in the side of the head, not hard enough to hurt him, but enough to break his concentration. He turned toward her, furious. You little... Luigi surged upward, catching Greco under the chin with an uppercut that lifted the older man off his feet. Greco crashed down hard and didn't get up. Luigi stood over him, breathing hard. It's over, Antonio. Greco laughed, a wet, bubbling sound. You think you've won? I'm dying, Luigi. Cancer. 6 months, maybe less. I was dead already. But I wanted to take you with me. I wanted you to know what it's like to lose everything. He coughed, blood flecking his lips. And I did. I took her from you, your little chef, because now you know what you have to lose. Now you know fear. Luigi's expression was unreadable. You're wrong. She didn't take anything from me. She gave me something I thought was dead. Hope. He looked at Marco. Get him out of here. Put him on a plane to anywhere. If I ever see him in my city again, I'll finish this. Marco and his team moved in, hauling Greco to his feet. The old man looked at Luigi one last time. You're a fool. Love will destroy you faster than I ever could. Then he was gone, dragged away into the night. Luigi turned to Claire, and the look on his face stole her breath. You threw the beacon at him. I promised not to interfere, Claire said weakly. I didn't promise not to distract. Luigi crossed to her in 3 strides and kissed her. It wasn't gentle or tentative. It was desperate and claiming and full of everything they'd been dancing around for 2 weeks. Claire kissed him back just as fiercely, her hands fisting in his shirt, tasting blood and violence and something that felt dangerously like forever. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Luigi rested his forehead against hers. This is a mistake, he whispered. Probably the biggest one I've ever made. Good thing I like mistakes, Claire replied. They stood there in the warehouse yard, surrounded by Luigi's men who were very carefully looking anywhere else, and let the world fall away for just a moment. But as they drove back to the estate in the pre-dawn darkness, Claire couldn't shake Greco's final words. Love will destroy you. She looked at Luigi, at the blood drying on his face, at the protective way his hand rested on her knee. And she wondered if Greco was right, if love in this world was a weapon that would ultimately destroy them both. When they reached the estate, Luigi led Claire upstairs to his private wing, the part of the house she'd never seen. His bedroom was surprisingly simple. A large bed, minimal furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. I should clean up these cuts, Claire said. They'll get infected. Luigi sat on the edge of the bed, and Claire found a first aid kit in his bathroom. She cleaned the cuts on his face, the split above his eyebrow, the bruises already forming on his jaw. His eyes never left her face. You should have stayed in the car, he said. Probably. You could have been killed. So could you. Claire set aside the antiseptic. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Luigi caught her hand, pulling her down to sit beside him. Claire. Don't, she interrupted. Don't tell me this is temporary. Don't tell me we're making a mistake. I know what this is. I'm not naive. What is it? Luigi asked. It's dangerous and probably doomed and absolutely insane, Claire said. But it's also real. And I haven't felt anything real in a very long time. She met his eyes. Have you? Luigi's answer was another kiss, slower this time, but no less intense. They fell back onto the bed together, and Claire thought that if this was a mistake, at least it was hers to make. At least it was her choice. The last thing she remembered before exhaustion finally claimed her was Luigi's arms around her and his voice, barely a whisper. You're going to break my heart, Claire Ross. She wanted to tell him that her heart was already breaking, that she was falling for a man she couldn't save, that 3 months would never be enough. But sleep pulled her under before she could form the words, and she dreamed of warehouses and blood-stained roses and dark eyes that saw too much. Claire woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the sound of the ocean. For a moment she was disoriented. This wasn't her room. Then memory flooded back. The warehouse, Greco, the kiss. She turned her head and found Luigi already awake, propped on one elbow, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. How long have you been staring at me? She asked, her voice rough with sleep. Long enough to realize I'm in serious trouble, Luigi admitted. He traced a finger along her jawline. I tried to convince myself this was just attraction. Physical, simple. But watching you sleep, I realized I was lying to myself. Claire's heart stuttered. Luigi. Let me finish, he said. I've spent 17 years building walls, becoming something cold and efficient. I told myself that love was a luxury I couldn't afford, that caring about someone meant giving them the power to destroy me. He paused. And then you walked into my life and demolished every wall I'd built. Before Claire could respond, someone pounded on the door. Boss, Marco's voice came through, urgent. We have a situation. Luigi was on his feet instantly, all softness vanishing. What kind of situation? Sophia needs you in the security office. Now. They dressed quickly, and Claire followed Luigi down to a room she'd never entered. Walls covered in monitors, computers humming, the nerve center of the estate's security. Sophia stood in the center, her face grim. We have a problem. Vincent. Luigi's expression went ice cold. What about Vincent? Sophia pulled up footage on the main screen. It showed Vincent in what looked like a restaurant, sitting across from a man Claire didn't recognize. This was taken 2 nights ago. The man he's meeting with is Marcus Webb, one of Greco's lieutenants. The room went silent. Claire felt the temperature drop 10 degrees. My cousin, Luigi said, his voice deadly quiet, is working with Greco. Marco cursed. How long? At least 6 months based on our investigation, Sophia said. He's been feeding Greco information. Security rotations, your schedule, details about Claire. She looked at Claire. He's the one who told Greco about your mother. Claire's stomach turned. Vincent had smiled at her in the kitchen, shaken her hand, all while planning to use her mother as leverage. Where is he now? Luigi asked. The guest house, Marco said. He hasn't left the estate since he arrived 3 days ago. Luigi's smile was terrible to see. Good. Bring him to me. The wine cellar. Marco nodded and left. Luigi turned to Claire. You should go to your room. What happens next? I'm staying, Claire interrupted. He used my mother. I deserve to see this. Luigi studied her. This won't be pretty, Claire. I'm not going to talk to him and let him explain. I'm going to hurt him. Good, Claire said, surprising herself with the venom in her voice. Something flickered in Luigi's eyes. Approval, maybe, or concern. But he nodded. Stay behind me. And if I tell you to leave, you leave. Understood? 20 minutes later, Vincent was dragged into the wine cellar by Marco and 2 other men. He looked genuinely confused. Luigi, what's going on? Why am I... Then he saw the laptop Sophia had set up, showing the restaurant footage. The color drained from his face. Cousin, Luigi said softly, and there was more menace in that gentle tone than in any shout. We need to talk about loyalty. I can explain, Vincent started. Can you explain 6 months of betrayal? Luigi circled him like a shark. Can you explain feeding information to a man who killed my parents? Can you explain threatening an innocent woman's mother? He stopped in front of Vincent. Can you explain why I shouldn't kill you right now? Vincent's eyes darted around the cellar, looking for escape. There was none. You don't understand. Greco offered me... Money? Luigi's laugh was harsh. Power? Whatever he offered you, it wasn't worth your life. But you were always stupid, Vincent, always looking for the easy path. Says the man who inherited everything. Vincent spat, his fear turning to anger. You got the territory, the respect, the family name. What did I get? Scraps. The privilege of serving the great Luigi Verone. You got to live, Luigi said flatly. After you stole from me 3 years ago, after you tried to undermine my deals, after every petty betrayal I forgave because we share blood, I let you live. That was your inheritance, Vincent. Life. And you threw it away. Vincent lunged suddenly, pulling a knife from somewhere. But Marco was faster, grabbing Vincent's arm and twisting until the knife clattered to the floor. Vincent screamed. You want to know the real reason I betrayed you? Vincent panted. Because you're not the righteous king you pretend to be. You're a hypocrite. You talk about honor and family, but you killed Carlo Greco for dealing drugs while half your captains do the same thing. You talk about protecting the innocent while running protection rackets that bleed small businesses dry. Claire watched Luigi's face, expecting rage. Instead, she saw something worse, acknowledgement. You're right, Luigi said quietly. I am a hypocrite. I've done terrible things while telling myself they were necessary. I've hurt people while convincing myself I was protecting others. I'm not a good man, Vincent. He leaned closer. But I never pretended to be. I never lied to myself about what I am. That's the difference between us. I own my sins. You hide from yours. He straightened. Marco, take him to the city. Turn him over to the Castellano family. Tell them he's been working with Greco. Let them handle it. Vincent's face went white. No, Luigi, please. They'll torture me for information and then kill me. Just do it yourself. Quickly, please. You want mercy? Luigi asked. Did you show mercy to Claire's mother when you gave Greco her location? Did you show mercy to the 2 men who died in the attack you helped plan? He turned away. Get him out of my sight. As Marco dragged Vincent toward the door, the man was screaming, begging, promising anything. Claire stood frozen, watching this glimpse into Luigi's world. Cold justice without forgiveness. When the door closed, cutting off Vincent's screams, Luigi turned to Claire. "Now you see what I really am. Still want to stay?" Claire thought about running. About the casual way Luigi had sentenced his own cousin to death. About the darkness in this world that seemed to consume everything it touched. But she also thought about Vincent's betrayal, about how he'd threatened her mother without hesitation, about how many people might have died if he'd continued feeding information to Greco. "I'm still here," she said. Luigi closed his eyes briefly. "You're either very brave or very foolish." "Maybe both," Claire admitted. She crossed to him, taking his hands. "But I understand why you did it. He was a threat. He would have kept being a threat. In your world, there's no room for second chances." "In my world," Luigi said, "there's no room for anything soft or gentle or good. That's why you shouldn't be here, Claire. You're all three of those things, and this place will corrupt you." "Or maybe I'll corrupt this place," Claire suggested. "Maybe I'll make it a little less dark." Luigi pulled her close, resting his chin on top of her head. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not," Claire agreed. "But you're stuck with me anyway." They stood like that for a long moment before Sophia's voice came over the intercom. "Luigi, we need you upstairs. We have a visitor." Luigi sighed. No rest for the wicked. But as they climbed the stairs, Claire noticed he kept her hand in his, like he was afraid to let go. In the foyer, a woman waited. She was young, maybe 7, with dark curls and Luigi's eyes. She wore a pink dress and held a stuffed rabbit, and when she saw Luigi, her entire face lit up. "Papa!" The word hit Claire like a physical blow. Papa. Luigi had a daughter. Luigi froze on the stairs, his hand tightening on Claire's. The woman standing with the little girl was familiar. Detective Rachel Morgan from the night of Thomas Reed's murder. "Hello, Luigi," Morgan said. "Isabella insisted on seeing you for her birthday. I tried to tell her you were busy, but she can be very persuasive." Luigi released Claire's hand and descended the remaining stairs. He knelt in front of the little girl, and Claire watched his cold mask crack completely. "Hello, Principessa," he said softly. "You've grown." "I'm 7 now," Isabella announced proudly. "That means I'm almost grown up. Rachel says I can visit you more if you want." She looked at him with such hope it made Claire's chest ache. "Do you want me to visit more, Papa?" Luigi's jaw worked. "Of course I do, but you're busy," Isabella finished, her smile dimming. "You're always busy." "That's okay. Rachel says important people are always busy." She held out her rabbit. "This is Mr. Buttons. He wanted to meet you." Luigi took the stuffed rabbit with surprising gentleness. "Hello, Mr. Buttons. It's nice to meet you." He looked at Morgan. "Can you give us a few minutes?" Morgan nodded and stepped outside. Luigi stood, still holding the rabbit, and that's when Isabella noticed Claire on the stairs. "Who's that?" she asked. Luigi turned, and the look he gave Claire was almost pleading. "This is Claire. She's my friend." "Like a girlfriend?" Isabella asked with the bluntness of a 7-year-old. "Because Rachel says you don't have friends. You have business associates. But Claire doesn't look like business." Before Luigi could answer, Claire descended the stairs and knelt beside Isabella. "I'm his chef, actually. I make him dinner every night." Isabella's eyes went wide. "You cook for Papa? Does he tell you stories while you cook?" "He used to tell me stories about Italy when I was little, about my grandparents and the ocean and the food." "He does tell me stories," Claire said, her heart breaking for this little girl who so desperately wanted her father's attention. "Would you like to help me make something? I was planning to bake cookies this afternoon." Isabella looked at Luigi. "Can I, Papa, please?" Luigi's expression was complicated. Joy and pain and fear all mixed together. "You should ask Rachel. She's your guardian." "But I'm asking you," Isabella insisted, "because you're my papa, and even if you're too busy for me, I still want to spend time with you." The words hung in the air like an accusation. Luigi crouched down to Isabella's level. "I'm never too busy for you, Principessa. I stay away because I want you to be safe. My life is dangerous." Bad people want to hurt me, and if they knew about you, they might try to hurt you too. But I already know about you, Isabella said. And I'm still here, so can I stay for cookies? Luigi looked at Claire, and she could see the question in his eyes. Is this okay? Are you okay with this? Claire nodded. She was more than okay with it. She wanted to know this part of Luigi, wanted to meet the daughter he'd hidden away. Cookies it is, Claire said, taking Isabella's hand. But you have to promise to follow all my chef rules. I promise, Isabella said solemnly. They spent the afternoon in the kitchen and Claire watched Luigi transform. With Isabella, he was patient and playful, completely unlike the cold killer from the wine cellar. He helped her measure flour, let her crack eggs even though she got shells everywhere, laughed when she got chocolate on her nose. My mama used to make cookies, Isabella said at one point, her voice going quiet. Before she died. Luigi's hand stilled on the mixing bowl. I know, Principessa. She was a good mama. Rachel says she was brave, Isabella continued, that she protected me from bad people. Is that true? Luigi set down the bowl and pulled Isabella into his lap. It's true. Your mama was the bravest person I ever met. She loved you very much. Do you love me, Papa? Isabella asked, and the vulnerability in that question made Claire want to cry. More than anything in this world, Luigi said, his voice rough. I love you so much it terrifies me. That's why I keep you away, Principessa. Not because I don't want you, because I want you safe. Isabella hugged him tight. I'd rather be with you and scared than safe and alone. After the cookies were done and Isabella had eaten 3, despite Rachel's protests about spoiling her dinner, it was time to go. Isabella hugged Luigi at the door, and Claire could see how hard it was for him to let her go. Can Claire come visit me? Isabella asked. I like her. She's nice, and she doesn't treat me like I'm made of glass. I'll visit any time you want, Claire promised before Luigi could answer. Isabella beamed. Next week, we could have a tea party. Next week, Claire agreed. When they were gone, Luigi sank onto the foyer bench, his head in his hands. Claire sat beside him. Why didn't you tell me you had a daughter? Because knowing about her makes you a target, Luigi said. Everyone I've ever told about Isabella has either betrayed me or died. Her mother, Francesca, she was a prosecutor. She was investigating Greco when we met. We had a brief relationship, she got pregnant, and before I could figure out what to do, Greco found out. He had her killed when Isabella was 6 months old. He looked up, his eyes red. I found them in Francesca's apartment. She was dead, but she'd hidden Isabella in a closet, saved her with her last breath. I realized then that my love was poison, that anyone I cared about was in danger. So I gave Isabella to Rachel, Francesca's best friend, to raise. I stay away. I pay for everything, but I stay away. That must be torture, Claire whispered. It is, Luigi admitted, but it's better than the alternative, better than Greco or someone like him using her to get to me. Claire thought about Isabella's question. Would you rather be with me and scared, or safe and alone? What if you're making the wrong choice? What if keeping her away is hurting her more than any danger could? Don't, Luigi said sharply. Don't make me question this. It's the only good decision I've made in years. Is it? Claire pressed. Because she asked if you loved her, Luigi. She shouldn't have to ask. Luigi stood abruptly. You don't understand. You couldn't possibly understand what it's like to know your love is a death sentence. You're right, Claire said. I don't understand. But I understand that little girl. I lost my father slowly, watching him forget who I was, unable to help him. At least I had time with him before that. What does Isabella have? A father who loves her but won't be part of her life? That's not protection, Luigi. That's abandonment. The words hung between them, harsh and true. Luigi's expression hardened. Get out. What? I said get out. Go to your room. Leave me alone. Luigi's voice was cold again, all the warmth from the afternoon gone. I shouldn't have let you meet her. That was a mistake. Claire stood, hurt and angry. Everything with you is a mistake, isn't it? Bringing me here, kissing me, letting yourself feel anything. When does it stop being mistakes and start being your life, Luigi? When I'm dead, Luigi said flatly, which might be sooner than you think. He walked away, leaving Claire alone in the foyer with the smell of cookies still lingering in the air and the taste of their argument bitter on her tongue. She went to her room and tried to read, tried to distract herself, but all she could think about was Isabella's hopeful face and Luigi's broken expression. That evening, Maria brought dinner to her room. Claire hadn't been able to face going down to the kitchen. "Mr. Verone is not eating tonight," Maria said quietly. "He is in his office." Drinking and brooding, she gave Claire a knowing look. Men are idiots when they are scared. "He's not scared," Claire said. "He's convinced he's protecting everyone by pushing them away." "Same thing," Maria said wisely. "Fear of loving is still fear." She set down the tray. "My husband was in this life. I know what it costs, but I also know that the years I had with him, even the scared ones, were worth more than a lifetime of safety without him." She patted Claire's hand. "Give him time. He will remember that living is worth the risk." But as the night wore on and Luigi didn't come to find her, didn't call, didn't send any sign that he regretted his harsh words, Claire began to wonder if Maria was wrong. Maybe Luigi was too broken. Maybe the darkness had consumed too much of him. Maybe some people couldn't be saved. She fell asleep thinking about Isabella's question, "Do you love me, Papa?" And she wondered if anyone would ever be brave enough to ask Luigi that question and actually believe his answer. What she didn't know was that 2 floors below, Luigi sat in his office staring at a photograph of Francesca holding baby Isabella, and he was asking himself the same question Claire had asked him. When does it stop being mistakes and start being your life? He didn't have an answer. But for the first time in 17 years, he was beginning to think that maybe, just maybe, he wanted to find one. Perfeito. Entendido. Vou escrever o capítulo 5 com aproximadamente 10.000 caracteres, mantendo a intensidade e os ganchos emocionais. Vamos lá. Claire woke to Maria's screams. She bolted upright, heart pounding, as footsteps thundered through the hallway. Marco's voice shouted orders in Italian. Something was very wrong. She threw on clothes and ran toward the commotion, finding chaos in the main hall. Medical equipment scattered across the floor, Marco barking into his phone, and Sophia, her face pale as death, kneeling beside someone on the floor. Luigi. He was convulsing, foam at his lips, his body seizing violently. What happened? Claire dropped to her knees beside him, her hand shaking. "Poison," Sophia said, her voice tight with control barely maintained. "In his whiskey." "We found Vincent's access card near the liquor cabinet. He must have—" She stopped as Luigi seized again. "The ambulance is 3 minutes out." 3 minutes might be too long, Marco said grimly. Claire's mind raced. Poison. Whiskey. Vincent's final revenge from beyond the grave. "What kind of poison?" "We don't know yet," Sophia replied. Claire looked at Luigi's convulsing form and made a decision. Make him vomit. Get it out of his system, now. "That could make it worse if it's—" Marco started. "He's dying anyway," Claire shouted. "Do it!" Marco didn't hesitate. He rolled Luigi onto his side and forced his fingers down Luigi's throat. Luigi gagged, his body rejecting the intrusion, and vomited violently across the marble floor. Once, twice. The third time, his convulsions began to slow. By the time the ambulance arrived, Luigi was unconscious but breathing steadily. The paramedics loaded him onto a stretcher, and Claire climbed in without asking permission. "Family only," one paramedic said. "I am family." Claire lied with such conviction that no one argued. At the hospital, they pumped Luigi's stomach and ran toxicology screens. Claire sat in the waiting room with Sophia and Marco, none of them speaking, all of them drowning in the same guilt. "Vincent did this before we caught him," Sophia finally said. "He knew he was going to die. This was his insurance." "How did he know which bottle Luigi would drink from?" Claire asked. Marco's expression was grim. "He didn't. He poisoned all of them. Luigi just happened to pick that one first." They sat in silence until a doctor emerged, looking exhausted. He's stable. The poison was aconite, wolfsbane, extremely lethal. If you hadn't induced vomiting when you did, he'd be dead. The doctor looked at Claire. Whoever made that call saved his life. Relief flooded through Claire so intensely her legs gave out. Sophia caught her. Can we see him? He's unconscious. Probably will be for several hours. But yes, one at a time. Claire went first. Luigi looked so still in that hospital bed, hooked to machines, his face pale against white sheets. She took his hand, and the tears she'd been holding back finally fell. "You stubborn, stupid, beautiful man," she whispered. "You don't get to die. Not like this. Not before we figure out what this is between us." She pressed her forehead to his hand. "I know you're scared. I know you think loving people gets them killed. But I'm here, Luigi. I'm still here. And I'm not going anywhere." Hours passed. Sophia and Marco took turns sitting with Luigi, while Claire paced the hallway, drinking terrible coffee and replaying the morning in her mind. If she'd been slower, if Marco hadn't listened, if the poison had been faster acting. "Claire." She turned to find Detective Rachel Morgan approaching, Isabella's hand in hers. The little girl's face was tear-streaked. "Is Papa going to die?" Isabella asked, her voice small and broken. Claire knelt in front of her. "No, sweetheart. He's going to be okay. He's strong. Can I see him?" "I don't think—" Rachel started. "Yes," Claire interrupted. "You can see him." She looked at Rachel. "She needs to see him. He needs to know she's here." Rachel hesitated, then nodded. Claire led Isabella into Luigi's room. The little girl climbed onto the bed carefully, curling against her father's side. "Papa," she whispered. "I'm scared. Please wake up." And incredibly, impossibly, Luigi's eyes fluttered open. His voice was rough, barely audible. "Principessa? You're awake." Isabella hugged him carefully. "The doctor said you were poisoned, that you almost died." Luigi's gaze found Claire over Isabella's head. In his eyes, she saw everything, gratitude, fear, and something that looked like surrender. "I'm okay," he told Isabella. "I'm okay because Claire saved me." Isabella looked at Claire with something like worship. "You saved my papa?" "Your papa's very hard to kill," Claire said, her voice thick with emotion. "Trust me, I've learned that." Luigi spent 2 days in the hospital. Isabella visited every day, and Claire watched Luigi's resistance crumble a little more each time. On the 3rd day, when they finally cleared him to go home, Luigi called Rachel into his room. Claire stepped out to give them privacy, but through the door she could hear snatches of conversation. "I can't keep doing this. She needs her father. If something happens to me, make it official." When Rachel emerged, she was crying. She hugged Claire without explanation and left. Luigi appeared in the doorway, leaning heavily on a cane the doctors had insisted he use. "What did you say to her?" Claire asked. "I'm petitioning for custody," Luigi said. "Shared custody with Rachel. Isabella will spend weekends here, holidays, summers. She deserves a father who's present, even if that father is dangerous." Claire's heart swelled. "Luigi." "You were right," he interrupted, "about everything. I've been so focused on keeping her safe that I forgot she needs more than safety. She needs love, and I can give her that, even if it's risky." He took Claire's hand. "You made me see that. You made me want to be better than what I am." They returned to the estate, and that night Claire cooked while Luigi watched from a stool, still too weak to do much else. "I remember it, you know," he said suddenly. "What you said in the hospital, when you thought I was unconscious." Claire's hand stilled on the knife. "You heard that? All of it." Luigi's eyes were intense. "You said you weren't going anywhere. Did you mean it?" Claire set down the knife and crossed to him. "I meant it. I'm falling for you, Luigi Verone. Maybe I already fell. And I know it's insane and dangerous and probably ends badly, but I don't care anymore. I just care about you." Luigi pulled her close, and when he kissed her this time, it felt different, less desperate, more certain, like a promise. "I love you," he said against her lips. "I've probably loved you since you told me it was your kitchen. and it terrifies me. But not as much as losing you would. You won't lose me, Claire promised. I'm tougher than I look. I know. You threw an emergency beacon at a Mafia boss. Luigi smiled. That's when I knew you were insane enough to fit into my world. They spent the evening planning for Isabella's first weekend visit. Luigi was nervous in a way Claire had never seen him, worried about having the right foods, the right activities, whether his home was child-appropriate. It's perfect, Claire assured him. She just wants to be with you. The weekend arrived, and Isabella came with an overnight bag and Mr. Buttons. She explored the estate with wonder, played in the gardens, and helped Claire make pizza for dinner. That night, Luigi read her stories until she fell asleep in the guest room they'd prepared. She looked so peaceful, Luigi whispered, standing in the doorway watching her sleep. Like the world can't touch her here. Maybe it can't, Claire said. Maybe you've built something good here despite everything. But the next morning shattered that illusion. Marco burst into breakfast, his face ashen. Boss, we have a problem. Antonio Greco is dead. Luigi set down his coffee. How? Suicide. Hung himself in his hotel room in Panama, but he left something. Marco handed over a phone. A video, timed to send if he died. Luigi played the video, and Claire watched his face go pale. She couldn't see the screen, but she could see Luigi's reaction. Shock, then horror, then fury. Get Isabella out of here, Luigi said quietly. Now. What is it? Claire asked. Luigi showed her the phone. On screen, Antonio Greco smiled at the camera. Hello, Luigi. If you're watching this, I'm dead. But I wanted you to know. I didn't lose. I won. Because I found your biggest secret. The video cut to surveillance footage. A school playground. Children playing. And in the center, a little girl with dark curls. Isabella. I know where she goes to school, Greco's voice continued. I know her schedule, her route home, everything. And I've shared this information with 3 different families who want you dead. Consider it my parting gift. Your daughter will never be safe again. The video ended. Luigi stood so fast his chair crashed backward. Marco, maximum security protocols. Move Isabella to the safe house. Contact Rachel. Tell her... He stopped, his voice breaking. Tell her I'm sorry. Luigi, he could be bluffing, Sophia said, appearing in the doorway. Trying to torment you from beyond the grave. Can we take that risk? Luigi's eyes were wild. Can we gamble with her life? Isabella appeared at the top of the stairs, still in her pajamas, holding Mr. Buttons. Papa, why is everyone yelling? The sight of her, small and vulnerable and completely unaware of the danger, seemed to break something in Luigi. He crossed to her and pulled her into his arms. We're going to play a game, Principessa, he said, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. A special hiding game, and Claire and Rachel are going to keep you safe while I make sure the bad guys can't find us, okay? Is this because of the video? Isabella asked. I heard Marco say video. Luigi looked at Claire over Isabella's head, and in that moment she saw his heart breaking. Saw him realizing that love really was a death sentence in his world. It's going to be okay, he told Isabella. But Claire could see he didn't believe it. Within an hour, Isabella was gone, whisked away to a location even Claire didn't know. Luigi stood at the window watching the car disappear, and when he turned back, he was the cold killer again. All the warmth from the weekend gone. We need to end this, he said to Sophia and Marco. Every family that might come after her. Every enemy I've ever made. We end them all. That's a war, Marco said. That's suicide. Then I'll die protecting her, Luigi said simply. Better that than living while she's in danger. There might be another way, Sophia said slowly. We could use the FBI. Detective Morgan has contacts. You could cut a deal. Information for protection. Witness protection for Isabella. Immunity for you in exchange for testimony against the other families. You want me to become a rat? Luigi's voice was dangerous. I want you to stay alive, Sophia shot back. I want Isabella to have her father. I want Claire not to watch you die in some pointless gang war. She grabbed his shoulders. You've spent 17 years being Francesco Veroni's son. Maybe it's time to be Isabella's father instead. The words hung in the air. Luigi looked at Claire. What do you think? I think Sophia's right, Claire said. I think revenge has cost you enough. I think it's time to choose something different. Luigi closed his eyes. When he opened them, there was resignation there. And maybe, just maybe, relief. Make the call. 3 days later, Luigi sat across from Detective Morgan and 2 FBI agents in a secure location. Claire sat beside him, holding his hand under the table. We can offer you immunity on most charges, one agent said. Witness protection for your daughter, but you give us everything. Names, locations, operations, everything. And what happens to me? Luigi asked. You disappear, the agent said. New identity, new city. You'd have to leave this life completely. Luigi looked at Claire. All of it, even Claire, the agent confirmed. Unless she comes with you. Claire squeezed his hand. They'd talked about this, argued about it, cried about it, but in the end, the choice was simple. Where he goes, I go, Claire said. Luigi's eyes shone with unshed tears. You'd give up everything? Your mother, your dreams, your life? My life is with you, Claire said simply. Everything else is just details. The agent nodded. Then we have a deal. That night, back at the estate for what might be the last time, Luigi and Claire stood in the kitchen where it had all begun. I never thought I'd walk away from this, Luigi admitted. I thought I'd die in this life. You're not walking away, Claire said. You're walking toward something better. Toward Isabella. Toward a future. She pulled him close. Toward us. Luigi kissed her, and it tasted like goodbye to the old life and hello to something new, something terrifying and uncertain but also full of possibility. I love you, Claire Ross, he said. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving I deserve that love. You already do, Claire whispered. But even as she said it, even as they held each other in that beautiful kitchen, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that their story wasn't over yet, that one more twist waited in the shadows. And she was right. The deal was set. In 48 hours, Luigi would testify before a grand jury, and everything would change. Claire spent those 2 days helping him prepare, watching as he memorized details that would dismantle criminal empires. On the final night before the testimony, they held a small dinner at the estate. Just Luigi, Claire, Sophia, Marco, Rachel, and Isabella. It felt like a farewell to the old life. Isabella was radiant, unaware of the full weight of what was happening, just happy to have her father present and smiling. After tomorrow, we can be a real family, she said, hugging Luigi tight. You, me, Rachel, and Claire. Right, Papa? Right, Principessa, Luigi said, his voice thick with emotion. After dinner, while Isabella played with Mr. Buttons in the garden under Marco's watchful eye, Luigi pulled Claire aside. Whatever happens tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen, Claire interrupted. You testify, we disappear, we start over. But if something does, Luigi insisted, pulling a small box from his pocket. I need you to know this was real, that you changed everything. He opened the box, revealing a ring, simple, elegant, a single diamond that caught the light. Marry me, Claire. Not someday. Now. Tonight. Before everything changes. Claire's breath caught. Luigi, I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But nothing about us has been normal. Why start now? He took her hand. I want to start our new life as your husband. I want Isabella to see that love is worth fighting for. I want... He stopped, his voice breaking. I want to deserve you. You already do, Claire whispered. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. They woke Judge Anthony Moretti, an old family friend who owed Luigi a favor. In the estate's garden, under stars and with their small family as witnesses, Claire Ross became Claire Verone. Isabella served as flower girl, throwing rose petals with solemn dedication. Sophia cried. Even Marco's eyes were suspiciously bright. I never thought I'd see this day. Sophia whispered to Claire during the brief ceremony. Luigi swore he'd never marry, said love was too dangerous. And then you walked into his life and changed everything. When the judge pronounced them married, Luigi kissed Claire like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Mrs. Verone, he murmured against her lips. I love the sound of that. They spent their wedding night in Luigi's room, making love slowly, tenderly, like they had all the time in the world. When Claire woke at dawn, Luigi was already dressed, staring out the window. Second thoughts? She asked, wrapping the sheet around herself. Never, Luigi said. Just thinking about what comes next, about the life we're going to build. He turned to her. I'm going to be boring, Claire. A regular husband with a regular job. No more danger, no more excitement. Can you handle that? Claire laughed. After the past 3 months? Boring sounds perfect. The federal courthouse was a fortress that morning. FBI agents everywhere, security checkpoints, armed guards. Luigi squeezed Claire's hand as they entered. This is it, he said. The end of one life, the beginning of another. They were separated at the entrance, Luigi taken to a secure room to prepare, Claire directed to the gallery where she'd watch the testimony. She sat beside Rachel, both women tense with anticipation. The grand jury proceedings began. Luigi took the stand, and for 2 hours he spoke. Names, dates, operations. He dismantled criminal organizations with words instead of bullets. Claire watched him transform from mob boss to witness, and she'd never been more proud. Then the courthouse lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Alarms blared. FBI agents shouted into radios. Lock down. We have a breach. An agent grabbed Claire and Rachel. Safe room now. They were herded down a corridor with a dozen other civilians when gunfire erupted behind them. Claire's heart stopped. Luigi. She pulled away from the agent's grip and ran back toward the courtroom. Ma'am, stop, the agent yelled, but Claire didn't stop. She burst through the courtroom doors to chaos. Armed men in tactical gear exchanging fire with FBI agents. Bodies on the ground. And in the center of it all, Luigi, being dragged toward an exit by 2 masked figures. Luigi, Claire screamed. He twisted in his captor's grip, saw her, and his face went white with terror. Claire, run! One of the masked men turned toward her, raising his weapon. Time slowed. Claire saw the gun, saw the finger tightening on the trigger, saw Luigi's face contort with horror. Then Luigi broke free from his captors and threw himself between Claire and the bullet. The impact spun him around. Blood bloomed across his chest. He collapsed into Claire's arms, and she fell to the floor with him, his weight taking them both down. No, 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 Claire sobbed, pressing her hands to the wound. Blood poured between her fingers, hot and terrifying. Luigi, stay with me. Please. Luigi's hand found her face, his fingers leaving bloody streaks. Love you, he gasped. Tell Isabella. Tell her I tried. You're not dying, Claire said fiercely. You don't get to leave me the day after we got married. That's a terrible anniversary tradition. Luigi's laugh turned into a cough, more blood. Around them, the firefight continued, but Claire's entire world had narrowed to the man bleeding in her arms. Then Marco was there, and Sophia, creating a human shield around them. FBI agents secured the area. The masked men retreated or died. An EMT pushed Claire aside and went to work on Luigi. GSW to the chest, left side. Possible lung involvement. We need to move him now. They loaded Luigi onto a stretcher. Claire tried to follow, but an agent held her back. Ma'am, we need to secure you first. That's my husband, Claire screamed. Let me go. Claire, Sophia's voice cut through her panic. They'll take care of him, but we need to find out who attacked us, who knew about today. Claire's mind raced. Who knew? The FBI, the judge, their small family group. Unless... Vincent, she whispered. Before he died, he could have told someone, set this up as his final revenge. But Sophia was shaking her head, her face grim. Vincent's been dead for 3 weeks. This was planned more recently than that. She pulled out her phone, showing Claire security footage. This was taken last night at the estate. The video showed someone tampering with the security system. Someone Claire recognized. Detective Rachel Morgan. Claire's stomach dropped. No. Rachel wouldn't. Rachel's the only one who knew Isabella's location, Sophia said. The only one who could have leaked Luigi's testimony schedule. At the hospital, Claire burst into the waiting room where Rachel sat with Isabella. The little girl was crying, and Rachel held her, comforting her. Claire saw red. She crossed the room and grabbed Rachel by her jacket, hauling her away from Isabella. You did this. You set him up. Rachel's eyes widened. What? No, I would never. Security footage shows you at the estate last night, Sophia said, appearing behind Claire. Tampering with our systems. I was there, Rachel admitted. But not to sabotage anything. I was installing additional security for Isabella's visit next weekend. Luigi asked me to. She pulled out her phone, showing text messages from Luigi confirming exactly that. Claire released her, doubt creeping in. If not Rachel, then who? Marco appeared in the doorway, his face ashen. Boss is in surgery. They're saying the next few hours are critical. He looked at Sophia. And I found something about the attack. He showed them his phone. A text message from an unknown number sent to Luigi's private line an hour before the courthouse breach. You really thought testifying would save you. I've been 3 steps ahead this entire time. This ends today. AG. Greco, Claire whispered. But he's dead. We saw the suicide. Did we? Sophia interrupted. We saw a body. But did anyone verify it was actually him? The truth crashed over Claire like a wave. The suicide video, the threats against Isabella, the information leaked to other families. It had all been designed to force Luigi into making the deal, to get him to testify, to get him in that courthouse. It was a trap, Claire said. All of it. Greco's not dead. He's been orchestrating everything. Marco nodded grimly. I've got people checking the body in Panama. But if I'm right, if Greco faked his death, then he's still out there, Sophia finished. And he just shot Luigi. Hours crawled by. The surgeon finally emerged, exhausted. He made it through surgery. The bullet missed his heart by inches, collapsed his lung. He's critical but stable. Can I see him? Claire asked. He's sedated, but yes, 5 minutes. Claire entered the ICU room. Luigi looked so pale against the white sheets, tubes and wires everywhere. She took his hand. You saved me, she whispered. Again. You keep saving me. So now it's my turn. I'm going to find Greco, and I'm going to end this. She kissed Luigi's forehead and left the room with new purpose. Sophia was waiting. You're thinking something dangerous, Sophia observed. I'm thinking Greco wants Luigi dead, which means Luigi is bait. Claire's voice was steel. So we use Luigi as bait. We let Greco think he's vulnerable. And when Greco comes to finish the job, we finish him instead, Sophia completed. A slow smile spread across her face. I like how you think, sister. They spent 2 days planning. Marco positioned teams around the hospital. Sophia leaked information through carefully selected channels. Luigi was weak, barely guarded, easy prey. On the 3rd night, the trap was set. Claire sat in Luigi's room, reading aloud from a book Isabella had brought. She looked like an easy target, a grieving wife, unprotected. The window exploded inward. A figure dropped through, gun raised. Claire dove behind the bed as gunfire erupted. But the figure in the bed wasn't Luigi. It was a dummy, and the room was suddenly full of FBI agents. The attacker tried to flee, but Marco tackled him. They wrestled his mask off. It wasn't Antonio Greco. It was a young man, terrified, barely 20. Where's Greco? Marco demanded. I don't, he said. The young man was shaking. He said if I did this, he'd clear my family's debt. Please, you're just a patsy, Sophia said. Greco sent you to die. She knelt beside him. Tell us where he is and we'll protect you. Stay silent and you're dead either way. The young man broke. The docks. Pier 47. He's got a boat. He's leaving tonight for Sicily. Claire didn't wait. She ran from the hospital, Marco and Sophia behind her. They commandeered an FBI vehicle and raced to the waterfront. Pier 47 was dark, fog rolling in from the harbor. A yacht was preparing to depart, engines rumbling. On the deck stood Antonio Greco, very much alive, directing his crew. "Greco!" Claire's voice echoed across the water. The old man turned, and even from a distance, she could see his surprise. "Mrs. Verone, I'm impressed. I thought you'd be crying over your husband's corpse by now." "He's alive," Claire called back. "And you're not leaving this pier?" Greco laughed. "And who's going to stop me? You? The pastry chef?" "No," a voice said from behind Greco. "I am." Luigi stepped from the yacht's cabin, pale but standing, a gun in his hand. He'd left the hospital against all medical advice, determined to finish this. Greco spun, reaching for his weapon, but Luigi was faster. The shot echoed across the water. Greco stumbled, clutching his shoulder. FBI agents swarmed the yacht, securing Greco and his crew. It was finally over. Luigi collapsed, his wound reopening from the exertion. Claire caught him as he fell. "You beautiful, stupid, stubborn man," she sobbed. "You could have died. Couldn't let you do this alone," Luigi gasped. "We're a team now, remember?" At the hospital, again, the doctor was furious but grudgingly impressed Luigi had survived. "You've got more lives than a cat, Mr. Verone, but you've used most of them." 2 months later, Claire stood in a kitchen that wasn't Luigi's estate or her tiny apartment. It was theirs, a farmhouse in Tuscany, far from New York and the life they'd left behind. Isabella visited every month, spending longer stretches each time. Luigi was healing, slowly learning to be a normal father and husband. Claire was 5 months pregnant, her belly just starting to show. She hadn't known that night at the courthouse, hadn't known she was carrying their child when she'd watched him bleed. "What are you thinking about?" Luigi asked, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. "How we got here," Claire said. "How 3 months turned into forever." "Best deal I ever made," Luigi murmured, kissing her neck. "Trading my kingdom for a life with you." "Any regrets?" "Only that I didn't meet you sooner." They stood together in their kitchen, watching the Tuscan sunset paint the sky in shades of rose and gold. Outside, Isabella played with the neighbor's dog, her laughter carrying on the warm breeze. Claire thought about Thomas Reed dying in a kitchen that felt like a lifetime ago. About the terrifying, beautiful man who'd offered her a deal she couldn't refuse. About how love had transformed them both. "Mrs. Verone," Luigi said softly, "I love you." "Mr. Verone," Claire replied, turning in his arms, "I love you more." And in that moment, in their kitchen full of light and possibility, they proved that even the darkest hearts could find redemption. That love wasn't a death sentence, it was the only thing worth living for. If you enjoy stories like this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That's how I'll know you truly liked it. Even if you're watching on your TV, grab a second to join this family of fans who love emotional and heartfelt stories. Your support means everything, and it helps us bring you even more tales like this one.